Welcome to this beginner yoga flow. This is a full-length flow that's suitable for all yogis who are comfortable getting up and down from the ground. If you're comfortable with the basics and would like a beginner plus or intermediate flow, I have made a version of this that's available in the description below. So check that out if you want something a little more active or if you're really comfortable with the basics. So with this being a 75-minute class, after about 55 minutes or so of movement, we take a longer Savasana than perhaps we usually do, and also include some Pranayama, breathing, and meditation. So I hope you stick around to enjoy those as well. So we're going to begin today's class lying down. Before we get going, you may benefit in this class from having a strap or a belt. You could also use a towel or something like that in this instance. And if you have a couple of yoga blocks, or at least one yoga block, that'll be useful as well. A big book could do the same thing. And if you like any comforts in Shavasana, a bolster or blankets, have those close by, and then come back and we'll begin lying down on our backs. You're going to lie with your head at the front of your mat and have your strap close by, please, yogi. And we'll begin in constructive rest. So you're going to soften the shoulders into the earth, bend your knees and bring your feet close to your bum. And then not so close as a bridge pose, they're a little further away, turn the heels out and toes in so the knees start to rest together. Rest your hands by your side, palms facing up. And we'll just start here focusing on the breath. Start to breathe in and out through your nose if you can. Inviting the breath into the belly and slow exhales. And throughout your yoga practice, we can practice ujjayi breathing. And so this is a very slight constriction in your throat on your exhale to make a soft ocean-like sound. And that has the benefit of slowing your exhales down as you practice, keeping your breath steady. And also the sound can become like an anchor in your practice to help you stay focused in the moment rather than letting your mind wander off to thoughts. So practice a couple more of those, please. Breathing in through your nose. And an ujjayi exhale. And another, please, yogi, in through your nose. And slow ujjayi exhale. And so we're going to wiggle the feet closer together. Stretch your left leg out. Let it be flat and straight. And let your right knee fall out to the side. Place your right foot anywhere on the inner left leg, just like a tree pose usually. Now stretch your arms straight out to the sides. So you're like a capital T shape in your torso and your arms. Let that right knee fall towards the floor. If you have some stiffness in your hips and it feels a little bit too much, you could put your block at this point underneath your right thigh for some support, which will hopefully make it feel a bit more comfortable for you. Press away through your left heel. Get the left leg nice and long. Allow the right knee to fall towards the ground as you pull your left glute also towards the ground. Take a couple of breaths here, just starting to gently open. Relax your shoulders and your face. We'll lift your knee up to the center. Move your hips a tiny bit to the right. So just to press through the right foot, little lift and hips to the right. And continue now to bring that right foot and knee over to the left side of your space for a twist. So you'll roll onto your outer left leg. Your left hand can come to rest on the outside of the right knee. And it's okay for the knee to be hovering. If you're able to get your foot to either touch your thigh, your knee, or the floor, you can go ahead and do that. Look out to the right side. So you're getting a twist all the way through the length of your back and up into your neck as well. Good job, yogi. Come on up to center. Realign, find the middle again. Stretch your right leg out, rest it flat on the ground, and bring your left leg into tree pose, like reclining. So you can rest the left foot anywhere on the inner right leg in this. Right heel presses away. And like I mentioned on the other side, if you feel like it's a little bit too much for your hip, you get some discomfort in the hip flexor, pop a block underneath your knee so that you can be more comfortable. Arms out wide, relax them onto the ground. Draw that right side of your bum towards the floor. And just be with your breath. Deep inhales and slow exhales. Coming up on your breath in, use that pressure in the left foot to move your hips slightly to the left and guide your knee over to the right. It's okay for the knee to hover, but see if your foot can rest on something, whether it's the floor or your leg, just for a little bit of support. And look all the way out to the left side of your mat. Your right hand can come to rest on the outer left knee, just gently assisting, as your left shoulder pulls towards the earth. Take another full breath. Notice how the breath moves into different parts of your body when you're twisted. Relax your shoulders as you exhale. Come back to center. Let's reach for your strap. Hopefully you have it close by. Like I say, a belt works okay. And if you don't have anything at all, there's a variation of this without. So for a start, if you have a strap, pop it around your right foot and you'll go from big toe mound to little toe mound rather than in the arch or on the toes themselves, just through that structure of a foot there. Your left knee can be bent and stretch your foot high. So a quick reminder, if you don't have a strap, you could be holding your right thigh at this point. That's okay too. But if you have a towel or a strap that you've looped around your foot, it's not necessary to really pull with the arms. Straighten your arms out and hold as close to the foot as you're able to do so. So that could be with the foot going away from you, or it could be with the foot straight up or closer to you. But your arms are straight and holding. And simply the weight of your shoulders towards the earth will do the trick of gently stretching the hamstring. If you feel this pulling behind the knee itself, give your knee a little bit of a bend. And you'll still feel this then, hopefully in the belly of your right thigh, so right into the hamstring itself, rather than its connection point in the knee. So if you feel like your hamstrings are quite tight, and if your foot is maybe further away, keeping your left knee bent may be the best thing for right now. If you have a little bit more flexibility available to you and you like a slightly deeper stretch, let the left leg straighten out and rest it on the ground. Just like you did in tree pose, push away through the left heel. I'll spend a couple more breaths here, starting to wake up the hamstring. So as we flow today, we're moving towards a balancing posture that will help us to improve, hopefully over time, our balance, building strength and stability in the legs and core. And that helps us to sustain focus too. Take the strap in just your right hand. So wherever, or your belt, or whatever you're holding, hold it in just your right hand and maybe not quite as close to your foot. Loosen the stretch a bit. Extend your left leg if your knee is bent. And guide your right foot all the way out to the right side. So let it come all the way over and down towards the floor. It's okay if it doesn't touch. It can hover. Now, like you did in that reclining tree pose, your left side of your bum, anchor it down, outer left thigh spinning down towards the floor as the weight of your right leg opens into your thigh and hip. We'll hold for 3. Your left arm can counteract as well. He'll counterpose by going over to the left. 2. Breathe, yogi. Deep breath in and out. 1, good. Come on up to center. Big breath in. And exhale, bend your knee. Switch your sides. You can do this mid-air or you can totally release the strap and start over. Right foot on the floor to start with your knee bent while you set your alignment up. So remember your strap goes between big toe mound and little toe mound. Keep your way out of the arch or the toes if possible. Straighten your arms and hold as close to the foot as you can without straining. You don't have to lift your shoulders up to reach. And soften your knee and relax your shoulders towards the earth. Find a stretch into the back of your left thigh now. Like I say, if you're pulling the knee itself, soften it so that you're not feeling sensation in the knee joint. And relax your shoulders. Relax your low back. And if you wish, you could stretch your right leg out. But a reminder, if you know your hamstrings are quite tight, keeping the knee bent can really help you feel a good stretch without any strain. Stretching the right leg out will intensify that. So just go to where feels good today. There's no rush. You're not forcing anything. So we're coming to that open variation once again. So take your strap in just your left hand, perhaps not quite as close to the foot. Still an arm straight, really. Right heel presses away. So if you got your knee bent, straighten that right leg out. Stretch your right arm out to the right, let it rest on the ground, and the left hand guiding the left foot all the way over and towards the earth. And if it rests, that's fine, but if it hovers, that's fine too. Pull your right side of your hip and bum down towards the ground, outer right hip towards the earth. Hold there, maybe look out towards your right hand for 3. Breathe in 2. Hold on there, another deep breath in. And out. Good job, yogi. Come on up on your next breath in. And release your strap. Bring your knees into your chest. Put your strap to the side of your mat. And rock side to side across your low back. And start to rock up and down a little bit. Gather a little bit of momentum and come into a cross-legged seat. You're still facing the back of your mat at this point. If you feel like your tailbone's scooped under because we just rolled up, that's totally natural. You're going to lift up and move your bum back a bit so you release that scoop of a tailbone and fold forwards to stretch your hips. Let your hands rest on the ground. If you have some extra flexibility in your hips, perhaps your forearms reach the ground, but there's no need to stretch for that. You can keep your hands on the earth and feel a beautiful stretch here. Deep breath in and out. And in and out. And sit your way up. Put your fingers behind you, fingertips facing back, thumbs facing forwards. Now puff your chest up and squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. So just stretching into your ribs, your belly, into your chest. Chin a little lifted but not dropping back. And relax so you come to neutral and switch the cross of your legs. Once again, if you need to adjust your seat, you can lift your bum slightly, pop it back, and then fold forwards with the long spine again. Hands or forearms on the ground. Deep breaths that travel all the way down your spine. Sitting up, fingertips forwards, thumbs forwards, fingertips back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Heart up. Stretch into your belly and ribs. Deep breath into them. Ujjayi, exhale, squeeze your shoulders together again. Good. Take any tension out of the jaw in your face. Deep breath in. And out. Now look down at your shins. Please cross your left shin in front of your right if it isn't already. So if you need to switch. If it was already there, that's good. We're going to reach your right hand back behind you. And then you're going to pivot, so you'll reach also your left hand. You can spin onto your feet and end up turning forward. So a little twirl around. If that doesn't happen first time, just make your way towards being on your feet and your hands in downward facing dog. So for a start, let's lower the knees down. Set your fingertips almost as wide as your mat. So little fingers almost as wide as your mat. Grip your fingers into the earth. Firm into your belly. Take a deep breath in here. And remember that this tabletop pose is always a good option if downward facing dog doesn't feel good in your arms. So if they get some fatigue or your shoulders don't like down dog, this is also a strengthening posture. If you push your arms and lift the navel up, you're building much of a strength here. If you're feeling okay about your down dog, lift back up again. Look at your feet. Feet are hip distance apart, or even a touch wider can give you the space there. Heels up and knees softly bent. So don't worry about getting your heels flat. Then focus on pushing your hands into the ground so your shoulders lift up and tailbone lifts up, and get lots of length through the back of your body. And then if you feel like your heels could go down a little bit, they can. But if when you press your heels towards the floor, it makes you lose your low back length like that, it makes you bubble up, then you want to keep your heels up and knees bent so you can keep that length through your spine. Take another deep breath in. Are you still practicing your ujjayi breaths here? Slow exhale. Well, then you walk your way up to your hands. And at the top of your mat, if your hamstrings are on the tighter side, grab your blocks. Feet, once again, hip distance and parallel to each other. So if they're turned in or out, bring them to parallel. Lift up to your fingertips and stretch your torso long and fold forwards, legs straight. So the blocks can help you to feel comfortable in your fold. And also help the muscles to stretch safely as they feel like they have some support. They're not having to hold you up and they're not tense. If you're dangling, the hamstrings are working rather than stretching. So have your hands on the floor or blocks or a book or a couple of books. And start to bow down, keeping the tailbone lifting high and spine neutral. Another deep breath. Then we'll start to move with our breath. Inhale, lift up halfway. So squeeze your shoulders onto your back and bring your hands to your thighs. Lengthen all the way from your tailbone to your head. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forwards. One more time, please, yogi. Lift up halfway and fold forwards. Keep your left hand on the floor or your block. Bend your left knee and send your right hand up to the sky. Inhale it up there and release it down towards the floor or your block on your exhale. Twice more with that too. Inhale, circle the right hand up. Exhale, release it down. Starting to warm your shoulders and spine. Inhale, one more time. Left knee bends, right hand spins up, stretch it high, and release it down. Let your right hand come to rest on your block or on the floor. Bend your right knee, keep both heels on the ground. Left hand goes out and up. Breathe in, and exhale, release it down. Twice more. Inhale, circle it up. Exhale it down. And inhale high. Exhale it down. Soften your knees. Push your feet down, take your hands overhead. Hands to your heart. And let's start to move. This first round of flow will take a little slower. Make sure you feel good about your alignment. And then we'll do a breath and movement round or two. Take your hands, a big breath in, stretch high to the sky. Think strong in the quads, strong in the glutes. Exhale, fold forwards. Hands to your blocks or to the floor. Lift up halfway and stretch your torso out, just like we did a moment ago. Hands down to stability, whether that's the blocks or the floor, or either way. Step your right foot back as far as you can. Spin that right heel down, so your toes turn to 3 on a clock or just before, and open up warrior 2. So that's right hand to the back of your mat, left hand straight forwards. So your priority in this pose is your left knee. Make sure that it is traveling straight forwards in space. You can see your big toe. Its tendency in this pose is to dip in towards the middle, and that's where you start to strengthen and stretch the hips as you keep it going straight forwards, pulling it to the left. Press through your outer right foot. And like I say, that right foot isn't necessarily straight to the side, just slightly turned forwards. Sometimes we're reaching forwards in this pose. So reach your right hand back, bring your shoulders over your hips, and think a bit about strengthening into the front of your body. So zipping up the belly. Mula bandha like a kegel will help to strengthen the core here. Arms parallel to the earth. One more deep breath in. Looking forwards over the fingertips. Exhale. And bring your right hand to your right hip. Turn your left palm, the front one, to the sky. Keep that deep bend in your left knee and stretch your left hand up to the ceiling. Look up towards it as you're lunging deeply. So we're stretching into the side of your body here, left ribs and waist. Get another deep breath in and back out. Keep your hand on your hip and come into side angle. So we're going to grab our block today and put it on the inside of your left foot. Fingertips to that block. If that's a little too far, you can keep your forearm on your knee. But if possible, fingertips or palm on the block. Now focus on this right shoulder. Open it up. Draw your right shoulder onto your back. Turn your chest towards the side of your room, side of your mat. Keep your left knee going straight forwards. And then stretch your right hand straight up today. So sometimes this pose side angle, the right hand goes forwards. But for today's practice, we're going to take it straight up to the sky and play around with it a bit. Where is straight up? This pose we're working towards is also really good for working our proprioception, where we are in space. It's sometimes surprising. We think we're somewhere and we take a look and we're either more open or not quite as far as we think. Good. Take a breath. Come on up. Move your block out the way. Warrior two. Spin it down to the ground. Pick up your right heel. Then step your way back to a downward facing dog. We're going to pedal through your legs for a moment. And we'll take a vinyasa. So shift forwards to a plank pose. And once you're there, continue to move forwards for a little moment more. Then pop your knees down. If you have a full chaturanga, you can do that. But as this is a introductory practice, a beginner practice, we'll practice with the knees down so we have good alignment. Look forwards of your mat. You're almost in a knee plank here. You've got firm belly. You're going to keep your elbows close to your ribs and slowly lower to the ground, or as slowly as you can. Slowly down towards the earth. Your elbows stay over your wrists because you came forwards. When you get to the floor, turn the tops of your feet to the mat. Press them down. They don't have to touch. They're about hip distance apart. Elbows hug in again. Roll your chest up. Cobra. Hands pulling back. And look just in front of your mat. Exhale, soften down. Press your way up to a tabletop. And back to a downward facing dog. So just like you did in that first one, focus on getting your spine long, pushing through your arms. Your feet are separate, at least a hip distance. 2 more deep breaths here. Energize on your breath in. Look forwards and walk up to your hands. If at the top you need your blocks, bring them back onto your mat. Take a halfway lift, stretch out. Hands to thighs, shoulders on your back. Exhale, fold forwards. Soften your knees. Circle your hands up to the ceiling. Deep breath. Hands to heart. Exhale. Let's go again. Yogi, take your hands overhead. Breathe in to reach high. Exhale, fold forwards. Hands to the floor or to your blocks. Halfway lift, hands to thighs. Lengthen the back of your neck. Look right under your face. Move your blocks out of the way. And step your left foot back. Turn the left toes almost to 9 on a clock. Right foot stays forwards. Bend your knee. And open up warrior two. Left hand to the back of your mat. Right hand to the front. And lunge into the right knee. So make sure it's not falling in. Just like you did on the other side, you're actively pulling the outer right knee to the outside of your mat the whole time. Once you've got that set, press through the outer left foot a little bit. Then zip up the front of your belly, that little bit of engagement, up through pelvic floor, ribs into Uddiyana Bandha. Arms parallel to the ground. And look forwards over your fingertips. If you feel like you're reaching forwards, pull that left hand back a bit. Start to bring your shoulders directly over your hips. Let's let the left hand rest onto your hip. Turn your right palm to the ceiling. Check your right knee still in good alignment. And stretch up with your right hand. Breathing into the right ribs and waist. Creating some space there while we're building strength in the legs. I know that we're taking it slow in this first round, which means it can be more difficult to hold the poses, but it's beneficial to take time to open up, to warm up, and these holds create a lot of strength too. Bring your right hand down. Find your block. Hopefully you didn't move it too far away. Pop it inside of your right knee. Pop your fingertips to it. And like I said, if that's just a little too far, right forearm on the knee is also fine. I want to encourage you to use your side body strength rather than resting on it. So you're using still your leg strength. Hug your right hip over to the left and open your left shoulder up. So this is the main focus of this pose today. Really drawing that left shoulder blade onto your back, turning your chest to the side of the room, then the left hand straight up to the ceiling. There or thereabouts. Let's check in. Try to keep your breath full. You're doing good, Yogi. One more breath. Back up to warrior two. And we're going to get to release the legs. Turn down to the mat, move your blocks. Step your way back however you can to down dog. Position the feet, hip distance apart, give them a little pedal. A welcome rest. Shift forwards to a plank. Continue forward so your shoulders go further forwards than or towards your fingertips. Then your knees come down. Lift up the pelvis and belly so you're strong in your core. Elbows by your ribs. Continue to descend through Chaturanga Dandasana, full in staff pose. Tops of your feet press down when you get to the ground. Roll your chest up, cobra pose. Back bending gently. Exhale, soften down. And press your way back to all fours. All the way to a child's pose. Take a deep breath into your low back. And out. Head resting on the ground. Hips as close to your feet as you can. Good. Come on up. Tabletop. Downward facing dog. Lift your hips. Push your shoulders. Push your hands. Soft knees. Heels can be up. Tailbones up high. Deep breath in. Look forwards and walk your way up to your hands. Halfway lift at the top. Shoulders onto your back. Exhale and fold. Remember, your blocks are useful. If you can't touch the ground comfortably, grab them. Soften your knees, circle your hands high. Exhale, hands to heart. So now we're going to flow a little bit, yogis. We're going to do 2 rounds of those same movements with either 1 or 2 breaths per pose. So take a breath first in and out. Hands go up as you breathe in. Stretch your fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, fold forwards. Lift up halfway, stretching your torso, engaging your upper back. Hands to the floor or blocks, right foot back. Spin the heel down. Inhale, right hand back, left hand forwards. And exhale, warrior two, deepen into it. Turn your left palm up, right hand to the hip. Inhale, left hand high. Exhale, side angle, left hand down inside of the left calf, right hand high. Back to your warrior two, breathe in. And spin down to the ground. Step your way back, downward facing dog, exhale. We'll take a breath here, make sure we all meet here together in down dog. Deep breath in. Deep exhale. Ripple forwards to that plank pose. Grip your fingers, keep going forwards, then lower your knees down. Slowly descend, exhale, knees on the floor, elbows by your ribs. Roll up, cobra pose. Soften down, press your way to all fours, tabletop. To downward facing dog, hips up. Deep breath in. Big sigh out. Gather up your energy, yogi, breathe in. Look forwards and walk up to your hands. Half lift when you arrive at the top. Fold forwards. Soft knees, circle your hands up high. Hands to heart, exhale. Second side, come on up. Hands down to the blocks or the floor, fold it down. Hopefully starting to build some heat, yogi. Inhale, half lift. Fingertips down, step your left foot back. Spin the heel down and open. Warrior two. As you exhale, soften into it. Find that alignment of your front knee, remember. Right hand up, left hand to hip. Breathe in. Side angle pose. Keep your chest squared to the side of a room while you exhale and reach down to the calf. Inhale, back to your warrior two. Look forwards. Exhale, back down to the mat. Windmill the hands down. Step your way back, downward facing dog. If you want to skip your chaturangas, you can. If your arms start to feel some fatigue, you could also take a cat-cow instead if you know those poses. Inhale and out. Ripple forwards, breathe in. Shift forwards, knees down, navel up, chaturanga, slow descent. Keep the belly firm as you lower down. Cobra pose, roll it up and soften down. Press your way to your tabletop. Strong in your arms. Tailbone lift high, downward facing dog, chest back towards your thighs some. Push your arms. Look forwards as you breathe in. And as you exhale, walk forwards to your hands. Lift up halfway. Fold forwards. Hands up to the ceiling. Deep breath in. And to your heart, exhale. One more round. Inhale, take your hands up. Fold forwards. Half lift. Fingertips down, step your right foot back. Virabhadrasana to warrior two. Open it up on your inhales, big windmill of your arms. And as you exhale, left knee straight forwards as you deepen the pose. Right hand to hip, left hand to the sky, breathe in. Side angle pose, left hand down, right hand up. Exhale, all the breath out. Back to your warrior two, arms parallel to the earth, spread for your fingertips. Exhale, hands down, step back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. We'll all meet here. Skip this if you want to. Shift forwards. Plank. Knees down. Chaturanga. Grab your fingers. Roll it up to a cobra. You can come up a little higher if you want to, but make sure you don't feel crunchy in your low back. Soften down. Tabletop press up. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Sigh out. Breathe in. Look forwards. Make your way up to your hands. Half lift. Engage your upper back. Exhale and fold. Soften your knees. Circle your hands up high. And hands to your heart. Last one of these, please, yogi. Hands up. Fold forwards. Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Hands down, Virabhadrasana, left foot back. Turn the toes out. Open up on your in-breath. And as you exhale, deepen. Arrive. Right hand up, left hand to hip, reverse warrior. Side angle with the right hand down, left hand straight up. Exhale. Inhale back to warrior two. Or if your breath's a little shorter, a little choppier, breathe as much as you can. Exhale, soften down to the mat. Step your way back to your downward facing dog. We'll all meet here. Breathe in and out. Shift forwards. Knees come down. Chaturanga. Make sure the chest pitches forwards. That'll keep your elbows off your wrists. Strong as you lower down as slowly as you can today. Roll up. And this time, as you soften down, press your way back to a child's pose. So knees can be wide, toes together. Hips back to your feet. And rest for a moment. And just notice your breath. So we're going to come on up to a tabletop and do a moment of alignment for our pose today. Our balancing posture that we're going to do is a half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So we'll do a little bit of the alignment in tabletop. It's a good place to learn it. So in your half moon, you will be standing on one foot, but one hand is going to be on your block. And if you look down right now at your knee and draw a line straight forwards, pop your hand there. Now move your hand at least a hand's distance to the right. So your hand is still under your shoulder, but it goes out to the right side. You're not too far back and scrunched up. You're not stretched forwards to the mat, just to the right. Now slightly take your right toes off the mat and open your left foot up and take your left hand straight up to the sky. So this is a side plank, but it looks a lot like half moon in many ways. And by taking your hand further out to the right, it lets you really open up into it so that you don't topple over. Now you've also got your toes here to help you, but when we're stood on our foot, we don't have that extra assist. Put your left hand on your hip for a moment, and just like you did in side angle earlier, open the chest up to the side of a room. Now flex your left foot, toes towards the shin, and lift your left foot up. So your whole foot's flexed, and we'll give us a little bit of a strengthener here. So start to pulse. 10, just a little lift and lower. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hold it there. Press through that heel. Stretch your left hand straight up. And this is half moon in many ways. Hold here. Except for it's on your knee. And release down nice and easily. Find the ground. So back to your tabletop where your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. We'll do that same thing. So right now in tabletop, your left hand and left knee are in a line with one another. So take that left hand out to the left, at least a hand's distance. So your thumb is where your little finger was, or even a little more. Kick your left toes off the side of a mat. Stretch your right foot back. Inner right foot rests on the ground and open up. And just notice here for a moment how you can lean into that left hand and open it a bit more than perhaps you could if your left hand was right in alignment. And it's not as difficult here on the knee because you've got your left toes to help you. But when we stand, that's a really important part of your pose. Right hand to hip, open the chest up, almost like you want to shine your collarbones to the ceiling and let them smile up there. Lift your right foot up, flex your foot, and pulse 10 times, please, yogis. 10, 9, 8, little lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up there, build that strength. Right hand to the sky. Look at your left hand for balance. Pause there for a moment. Feel really expansive through the heel and the fingertips, and carefully bring it all down. Knees down to the mat, hands down to the mat. And rest for a moment in child's pose. Take a deep breath. And out. Tabletop, please, to downward facing dog. You've been here lots already today, yogi. Let it feel as comfortable as you can. Deep breath in, look forwards, and make your way again to your hands. Halfway lift, and fold. Circle your hands up, deep breath in, hands to heart. So definitely have your block close by. You just need one of them. If you've got two, you just need the one. And before we go into our final round with this half moon involved in it as well, my reminder is going to be to you that as you go into half moon, if your block matches in line with your foot, it's going to be way harder than it needs to be. So remember, when you use your block, and I really do recommend using your block, especially when you're first starting, it makes it a bit more comfortable, and especially if your hamstrings are on the tight side, it'll make it much more accessible. So if it's in line with your foot, it's going to be more difficult than it needs to be. So when you reach for your block, when we come to it, move that block out by a half a foot or even a foot or so. Play around with it, figure out where's right for you, maybe a little less than a foot. And you'll find that correct position that works in your body. Also, the tendency can be to have the block too close to your foot too, which doesn't let you spread out. So just like you were in tabletop a minute ago, make sure that when you use it, you're not too squished up on yourself. Okay, so we're back at the top of a mat. Hopefully that helps. It'll make sense when we get there. Take your hands up, breathe in. Fold forwards. Halfway lift. And step back, right foot back. Open up to your warrior two. Been here before. Hopefully starting to feel more comfortable with it. Take a deep breath in and out. Reverse, right hand to hip, left hand to the sky. And a little detour for us. First, hands parallel to the earth. Straighten your left leg. Reach forwards and then down with your left hand. Right hand to hip, just like you did in side angle. Open your chest up. Make sure your left leg is straight but without locking it fully. You might need to soften it a little bit, especially if you're on the more flexible side. You can have a block inside your calf for this if you feel good about it. We'll hold here for a moment, pin that left hip back. If you would like to add some core strength to this pose, which is beneficial for where we're going, right hand goes up. This might be enough. Or left hand straight forwards, parallel to the ground. Keep your chest turned to the side of a room. 4, 3, stay in as long as you can. 2, and 1. Bring your left hand back down, right hand back down to the hip. Bend your front knee for a moment. Good. Turn your toes to the side of your mat. Forward fold. Take a deep breath. And out. All right, let's go for half moon, yogis. Grab your block. Come on up, warrior 2. Hold your block in your left hand. If it's heavy, if it's a cork one, maybe rest it down for a second. If it's a foam one, you may take it all the way out. Take a breath in. Right hand to hip, exhale. Look at the floor in front of you. So you're going out from your left foot and then out to the left. You can hop that right foot in a little closer. Place your block on the ground, fingertips on it. Lift your right foot up, just like you did in that knee position a moment ago. Open that right hip up on top of the left. Outer right foot towards the sky. And try, if you can, to stretch your right hand up to the ceiling, if that feels okay. Keep your left quad strong by lifting the kneecap. 3, hold what you got, yogi. Look down at the ground. 2, and 1. Well done. Right hand back to your hip. Bend your left knee. Step it back carefully. Back to your warrior 2. And we'll spin down to the ground. And step forwards this time. Back to your tabletop and forward fold and pedal your legs. If you want your hand on a block, that's fine. All right, lift up halfway. Step your left foot back. Open it up, warrior 2. Nice and strong and stable here, yogi. Right hand to the sky. Coming back out carefully. Straighten your right leg. Reach forwards. And then down. So a reminder, if your legs are locked, soften, especially that right knee, a little bit. Reach down. You can use your block inside of your calf if that helps. Left hand can be on the hip while you open your chest, just like you did in side angle earlier, just like you did in that tabletop earlier. Open it up. Left hand can come up to the sky if you want this extra little bit of work. Engage your right leg. Make sure it's strong. If you want the core work, right hand parallel-ish to the ground. 5, 4, 3. Try to breathe while you're here. 2. I know it's difficult. And 1. Come back out carefully. Bend your front knee back to your warrior 2. Turn your toes to the side. Fold forwards. Wide-legged fold just for a moment before we take flight in Ardha Chandrasana. Good. Grab your block and come on up. Warrior 2, turn your right toes to the front. If you've got a foam block, you can maybe stretch it out. If it's cork, rest it on your knee for a moment. Left hand to hip. Look at the floor in front of you. You're going to take your your block in your right hand, forwards of your right foot, and then out to the right side of your mat a little bit so that you can open up into it. When you're ready, hop that left foot closer in, find the ground, take it to the side. Lift up the left foot, turn the toes to the side of a mat. Lift the outer foot towards the sky. Maybe take your left hand to the sky as your chest opens up too. Looking at the floor really helps. If you fall out, come on back in if you can. Notice if a right foot wants to turn in. When we sometimes lose balance, it'll turn in. Keep it straight forwards. One more breath. You're doing great, yogi. Soft landing if you can, is coming out as gracefully as you entered. Bend your right knee. Step your left foot back, warrior 2. Well done. And spin down to the ground. Step forwards. Pedal out your legs. and rest in a forward fold, whatever that means to you. If that means grabbing your blocks, coming up a little bit higher so you can be comfortable, do that. If it means letting your hands rest on the ground, that's okay too. Start to slow your breath down. Deep breaths into your low back. Good, lift up halfway. Soften the hands down, bend your knees, step your way back to your downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the ground. Let your hips rest back to your feet and rest your hands under your head. Relax for a moment. Continue to focus on slowing your breath down. Good, yogi. Come on up, nice and easy. And let's take a seat and turn to face you. And if you'd like to sit up on your blanket, you can. Let's take a twist. Everything we did today was opening the hips, but also quite linear in movement. We didn't twist the spine very much, so let's do that now. Stretch your feet straight out in front of you. Slide your right foot in towards you. Take your left hand across to it, right hand behind you, and twist. You can close your eyes. On your exhales, gently twist. On your inhales, lessen that twist. And exhale, deepen it. And inhale, lessen it. And exhale, deepen. Good. Hold down. Another 2 breaths. Relax your shoulders some. Relax your face. Carefully unwind. Same pose coming up on the other side. Right foot extends out. Left foot slides in. Right hand to left knee. Left hand behind you. And turn. On your inhales, lessen. Exhale. Invite the twist. Not forcing it. It's loosening up any tension from your spine. Exhale, twist. And as you twist and hold, look back over your left shoulder. Relax your eyes and jaw. And carefully unwind. Well done, yogi. Slide your feet out away from you. You're going to shimmy to the middle of your mat. Find your block once again. And you're going to lie on your back. So whichever direction you're comfortable with as we start to make our way down to the ground. So you've got your block, lie on your back. Bring your heels close to you. And we started in a similar position to this, but the feet were a little further away. This time, shimmy them quite close to your bum. And everything's in a line here, hips, knees, and feet. You'll reach for your block. Lift up your hips and slide it underneath your bum. So underneath the sacrum, underneath the part where you feel supported. So once it's there, you're rested down onto it. You should feel, hopefully, quite comfortable. If you feel like you're going to tilt off it or fall off of it, adjust it until you feel comfy enough. And if that just doesn't feel good to you, you could take that initial pose we took earlier, constructive rest. Just relax here. So built quite a lot of strength in the legs today as you moved. So they may have a little fatigue to them. Just let them soften. And only if this is comfortable for you, you can explore with this. See if it feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, come back to this pose. If it feels okay to you, bring your knees up towards your chest. See how that feels for a start. Do you feel safe on your block? And can you still breathe? If the answer to both of those is yes and you're comfortable, you want to go further, stretch your feet up towards the ceiling. Still feel comfortable on your block, still able to breathe. Now, if your hamstrings are on the tighter side, you're going to want to keep your knees quite bent so that you're not having to use your core to keep you up. We're not looking to fight or work in the pose anymore. This is purely here to help you relax. Viparita Karani is to help you rest tired legs, feet, and ankles. This is a really nice pose to do at the end of your day. Helps you to downregulate, to calm the nervous system. Easy breaths. And like I say, if this just doesn't feel good, you can always bring your feet back to the floor and rest there. Or rest in constructive rest again. Bend your knees if they're extended up. Reach for the floor, 1 foot at a time. Make sure you find the earth somewhat similar place to where you started out, so you can press all 4 corners of each foot down. Lift your hips enough to slide your block out from under you, and softly lower your way down. Pull your right knee into your chest, hold onto your thigh or shin, stretch your left leg out, and rest it on the ground. And if you want to circle your right ankle, continuing to relax the legs here. If you feel any tension in your ankle or foot, you can take a few rounds one way and a few rounds the other way. And release your right leg, stretch it out. Bring your left knee in, hold its thigh or shin if you can. Relax your shoulders, relax your right leg, excuse me, and circle your ankle. And if you're circling, remember to go both ways. And relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath. And out. Let your left foot come to the ground. Also bend your right knee. Move your hips a little bit to the right, just an inch. Lift them up, shimmy them to the right, then pop them back down. Both knees over to the left for a twist. And let the arms rest somewhere comfortable for you. So quite often, straight out to the sides is nice. Some people like to rest their left hand on the right knee. Adjust this pose to get into a really relaxing, comfortable pose, not something you're having to fight to stay in. And if you haven't already closed your eyes, let them close. And lift your knees up to the middle. Move your hips firstly to center and then to the left side of your mat, just an inch or two. And let both knees travel to the right. Stretch your arms out. Rest them comfortably. Relax any tension from your shoulders, from the belly, from the legs, the ankles and feet. And come back up to the middle. Move your hips back to the center. Hug your knees into your chest. If there's anything you need to do to make your body feel balanced before we rest, take a little time to do that. And if you're ready to rest in Shavasana, we're going to start making our way there. If at all possible, I recommend a little elevation in the knees if it's not too disturbing for you. Often I'll use a bolster today, popping blocks and a blanket underneath them to create that same kind of effect. Just a little elevation in the knees so that the low back can relax. You're welcome to put a blanket under your head if that feels more comfortable, or your pillow. And take a few moments to simply shuffle around to get comfortable. Relax your toes and the bottoms of your feet, the heels, up into the calves and the shins. Soften your knees and your thighs. Your legs supported you today in some strong standing poses. So now let them rest fully. Glutes, the pelvis. Relax your belly. It's okay for there to be a space between your low back and the ground, but where it does touch the ground, middle back and shoulders melt into that connection. And relax your arms. All the way through upper arms, forearms to fingertips. Make sure the neck feels comfortable. Soften into the connection back of your head to the earth. And relax your jaw, your tongue, your cheeks and forehead. Soften your eyes. And drop away from the thinking mind. Settle your attention somewhere deeper within, somewhere a little quieter, more peaceful, somewhere in the space of your heart perhaps. And let yourself rest. And you can start to move your fingers and toes, open and close a hand, flex and point your feet. Start to breathe a little bit deeper. Maybe gently rock your head one way and then the other way. And take a stretch, like a morning-like stretch. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring your knees in towards you. And hold on to them and rock for a moment. Give yourself maybe a big hug. And we're going to rest on the side for a second too. So just move your way over to your side. You can rest your head on the floor or your arm. And come up to a comfortable seat for some pranayama, some breathing and meditation. So I recommend lifting your hips up as you sit. So if you have a meditation cushion, grab that and sit on it. If you have a blanket, or you can even sit up on your blocks. Get yourself positioned comfortably upright. Make sure your chin isn't too high nor too low. That you're not leaning forwards or back or one way or the other. If your knees are hovering, if they aren't resting on the ground, you can always grab your blocks and put them under your thighs for a little bit of support there too. You don't want to feel any sensation of stretch as we sit. For breathing and meditation, your practice is there. Asana practice, the pose practice is there to stretch the body. When you sit for your meditation, hopefully we find a position of comfort that we can sustain, that's not forced nor strained. And you're going to start breathing in and out through your nose. And deepening the breath, making it a little bit longer, a little bit slower. It's not necessarily any ujjayi, just a full inhale, full exhale. And you're going to start balancing your breath, samavritti. And so in your mind, you'll count to 4 when you inhale and 4 when you exhale. I'll do a couple of rounds as an example, and then leave you to find your pace. So you'll breathe in first and out. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. So continue that pattern of equal breath, balanced breathing. And it's okay if you need to go a little quicker or slower with your count. Your main focus is on creating more like a metronome-like pace, so it's steady. It's not counting quicker while you exhale or counting quicker while you inhale. And so once you start to find a pace that works for you, making sure that you're inflating the belly and the chest as you breathe in. We're not restricting the breath or shallow breathing. It's a full steady inhale, full steady exhale. You want to try and find a pace that you can sustain for many rounds in a row. If after 2 or 3 rounds you feel like you need to take a break for a round and catch your breath, then you need to adjust the counting a little bit so that you can sustain it. And breath practice is a powerful practice, but can take months and years to develop. So don't feel like it needs to be any particular way to be effective. What you're doing is perfect just as it is. Just a couple more rounds. And you can let your count fade into the background and allow your breath to come back to a more natural pace and depth. Make sure you're still sitting comfortably, not leaning forwards as if chasing the next breath. Relax your jaw. And in our meditation, again we're going to count, but this time the breath is totally natural. And this can be difficult for yogis as we're so used to controlling our breath that then when asked to just let it be natural, we totally overthink it. So do your best to just breathe naturally. If it wants to be shallow, it can be shallow. If it wants to be deep, it can be deep. And our meditation today is one to help us build focus and concentration, to develop our ability to sustain focus over time. So you watch your inhale and you watch your exhale. And at the end of a breath, you'll count. And we're counting backwards from 4 towards 1. So at the end of your exhale, 4. Your breath comes in, it goes out, 3. In, out, 2, and so on. And if you get to 1 without any distractions at all, simply start again at 4. If, however, you notice that your mind has wandered off to planning your day or thinking about something in the past or somewhere altogether different, come back, escort your mind back to your breath, and start counting again at 4. It's also possible sometimes for the mind to multitask, so you keep some count going in one part of your mind and you're planning your day in the other part of your mind. If you notice that happening, that is not full focus. Start again at 4. Just like your poses, this is a practice. Some days it's easier than others. Some techniques are easier than others. And some days it might feel like you can't even get barely to 4, let alone past 4. And if that is just how busy your mind is today, that's okay. At least in this moment, you're noticing. Over time, your ability to sustain focus on the breath will increase. Your ability to sustain focus on any task will increase. You'll become more focused, less distracted. I'll give you a couple of minutes, yogis, counting your breath. Let your mind wander. Let your hands come together in front of your heart in a prayer position. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your mat today, for taking time to move your body, to be still, to be aware of your breath, and to meditate. Take a deep breath in and long breath out. Thank you for your practice. Namaste. If you enjoyed this practice, please remember to press the like button and leave me a comment. Also remember to subscribe for more yoga videos and meditations.